thinking about playing each ball late as straight as possible, because sometimes if you premeditate, a little push through the covers or just in front point, you sometimes will play at a widish ball. Sometimes if there's a plan to like ball straight, because obviously pitch may not have any bounce and stuff. That's when sometimes my guard may change to the right hand bowler. Fitness is key.
Is your mindset to be aggressive in terms of your intent? So in terms of calling, in terms of even when you leave the ball, can you just give us a little insight in terms of your mindset when you actually go out to the crease and how you kind of try and impart pressure back onto the bowlers?
I think what worked for me well, and I learned this. I didn't learn it right away, and I'm still learning now. But to be honest, in terms of thinking about playing each ball late as straight as possible, and I'm not saying that if you get a ball to cut or to pull, you wouldn't. But I found that when I thinking about playing as late as possible and as straight, that helped me to leave better. Because sometimes if you premeditate, a little push through the covers or just in front point, you sometimes will play at a widish ball. Um, so I think that mindset of thinking as straight and late as possible in the V, that helped me, in my whole setup. But as I said, still learning, stuff, different conditions. Sometimes, you gotta change your stance for a certain bowler. Obviously a left hand bowler you may open up. So there's a lot of things you could think about, but for me generally it's playing as late as possible and as straight, especially early on with that new ball.
Are you one for like when you actually go out into the middle, would you look to adapt in terms of changing your guard? Or do you kind of have a set routine that you really kind of want to stick to and you trust your own game? Or do you adapt in terms of what's coming down at you? So say, for example, if you're on middle, would you look to open up a bit more and go on two or back on off? How do you do things?
Well, for a left hand bowler, my gear will be different to a right. Um, Sometimes if there's a plan to like bowl straight, 'cause obviously pitch may not have any bounce and stuff. That's when sometimes my guard may change to the right hand bowler. Um, but other than that, in terms of the lowness of the pitch, on a different bowlers, to be honest, different bowlers sometimes could get a different guard. So, obviously that's a lot to do with just assessing the opposition. And so it's always good that you could change different stuff in between. And I have done it, before where in the same game have different, gear for different bowler.
How do you go about things in terms of the fitness side of things? Because obviously you've got the potential, as you've done in the past, to bat through the innings, bat all day. You can be abroad, like in Bangladesh, bat in humid, warm conditions. Is it a lot of
Yeah.
endurance training that you do away from the field? What kind of stuff are you doing in the gym to get yourself accustomed to things? Because it must be different to
Yeah.
what kind of the fast bowlers are doing as well. Would that be fair to say?
Yeah. In endurance, I think it's a mixture. Because I was an athlete, at school. So as I started playing first class and stuff, that stick, that running ability obviously always stuck with me. So running long is always good. Like one thing that helps me a lot is like running on the beach. Obviously Brandon's Beach, which is like closest to my house. Sometimes like I will run on that for like 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and the sand sometimes it's quite dead. Like it's quite deepish. So like sometimes when you do that, along with doing a lot of shuttles, and then you mix it with the gym. Obviously, you're doing strength work. You're working on your core. You're working on your legs. You're working on your shoulders. Um, especially in your downtime. Because sometimes we have a lot of cricket, but I think what helps during the cricket, because out of season you could put in your work. Because you're home, you put in your work, however you plan it per week. But on cricket, how you find is that once you keep topping up, in between games and in the gym, You know, if you don't have the 100% same gym program, I think once you keep topping up, that obviously helps. But in these humid conditions, um, I think once you hydrate well, because fitness is key. To be honest, because obviously you gotta be fit to concentrate, you know, to feel long and then going back. But then once you come to these places and you have that work in, once you hydrate well, then you know that hydration will always make it easier.